This is the Rising Tide Startups podcast, where we chat with startup founders from all over the globe to help you escape the cubicle and begin your own startup journey. Make sure you take notes. Every episode of Rising Tide Startups is sponsored by Podbrand Media. Let Podbrand create and host your company branded podcast. Learn more at podbrandmedia.com. This is Rising Tide Startups, and my name is Kevin Pruitt. It is an honor to host this podcast. We've been hosting it since 2018, and we have the joy of having a repeat guest, my friend Linh Podetti. Linh, thanks for joining us on Rising Tide.
Oh, so great to see you again, Kevin. Excited to be here.
Oh, it is always a pleasure, and I think she's one of the few that maybe I don't know if we've had anybody that's actually been on 3 times. So this is quite a joy to have you on, Linh, and I follow you so much on LinkedIn anyway, and the energy that comes through your LinkedIn post is just as real and bright as it is in person. So, Linh, share just a little bit of your story, a little bit of your background with our listeners today.
Yeah, so I'm currently a founder of a company called Outsourcing Angel. So we help to make, amazing virtual remote staff from places like the Philippines with businesses in Australia, US, and we specialize in marketing and operations. But I started off just a plain old Jane, had no idea about business, had no idea about how it's like to, achieve success, because I never had anyone in my life. But I think I've always had that instinct where I just feel like, if someone else could do it, I could do it. So I've always been that kind of curious girl. I was born in Vietnam. We didn't have much. We come over and I'm watching my parents working so hard, sewing at home day and night because they own their own business, self-employed. They just had no boundaries. They just work. And I just always ask myself, I'm like, that's not normal. Like, this is not what I want to be. And, but yeah, they got me to help them really early. And I think that's where I had that kind of great work ethics. Like I've been in business now for over 10 years, but I still feel like I'm, really still striving hard because I love my vision and mission in life. And, but yeah, I guess a short story is that I got into business because I was a single mum. I had nothing, but I had a son that I needed to be there. And the only way to be there for him is to have a business that was remote. And so I've been proud to be able to do that for the last 10 years. And then I feel like my business is a platform for more people like me who want to be able to have that flexibility and freedom. So even our Australian staff that we hire now are from that background. Like, I just know life is better than just the corporate job. And so we are that platform to matchmake any remote staff from anywhere, in a sense, with businesses.
Well, one thing that's really interesting as I'm kind of watching your posts, you really fuse kind of life and business together. So, what you see is what you get, when you're sharing out on your posts, and, you talk about, you're not just the only entrepreneur in the family, you have an entrepreneurial family. So, your husband's also rocking it somewhere as well, doing, his own gig on the side. And so, a typical night, you're sitting there, you've got dinner on the table, you kids, are you guys talking business, or is there like a switch you turn off at night?
The interesting thing is we come from 2 different types of industry. So he's an old school traditional business where he manufactures air conditioning. He never really enjoyed reading books or going to seminars. And he's basically kind of like grew his business from, a technician, physically doing things, scaled and got more people. Whereas I came from I'm more of the bookworm, learning hacks, technology, I'm all about like working smarter. And so I don't think we are aligned in our business philosophy. So we don't talk a lot about business, but we do, we can understand for each other. So, during the time when he was working hard and even Saturdays were required, he was required to work, I didn't feel frustrated. I didn't go, hey, why are you working? I kind of understood for him. Yep. Likewise, he knows I love networking, traveling, meeting people. He doesn't look at it like, why are you leaving me there? He kind of knows that it's not just that it's good for business. It's just that I love that. Like, I'm a social butterfly. So I think it's the appreciation for each other. But of course, in the morning, we usually have a coffee together and we just go, how was your day yesterday? And, did you let that staff go? And sometimes I don't like to let him know too much about my business because his mindset's also very different to mine. I'm an optimistic person. So I'm always about like, what's the ROI, or more like I'm looking forward to the positive outcome. Whereas he's always calling himself a realist. So he's always telling me what could go wrong. And so as you can see, you got to be careful who you share the information with, because that person could bring you down and
Yeah.
bring all being a devil's advocate, when at that time you kind of need someone that go, yeah, give it a go, right? And so in short, maybe it is an advantage to that, because we don't talk too much about business.
Yeah.
We keep business and life separately most of the time.
I mean, I think there's real wisdom in recognizing that, hey, every personality type has its benefits and its, kind of downsides as well. So, you need every now and then you need somebody to kind of speak the realistic side of things into your vision and saying, hey, here's some blind spots you may not be seeing or whatever. But you certainly also need that person that says, absolutely run through that wall.
Yeah.
You got it built into you, so go for it.
Yeah, but I mean, I'm going to be honest here, husband and wife, the way we communicate is very different. It's not like it's, hey, I was just wondering, have you considered this? You wish it comes that way. But because you're so comfortable, it's like, don't know, delivered in a way that you're like, oh my God, I wish I never told you. But hey, that's what makes our relationship exciting. I always remind him that the opposite of love is not hate. It's actually indifference, when you don't really care and you
Mm,
don't have any opinion and you don't give a damn about whatever that person's doing. And so, yeah, I'm grateful when he does give me some pointers. I might go, no, I'm not listening, but I do listen and,
yeah.
take a little bit of notes and, do take into account the side that could go wrong.
Yes, and I mean I've been married for a number of years in mid-30s, and so yeah, I know exactly what you're talking about. We certainly communicate differently than I do with my friends, or people that don't have any skin in the game, so to speak. But
Yes.
we're gonna take a little trip down memory lane backwards. So we're gonna go back to I know you were doing jewelry early on, and you probably dabbled in some other things as well, but when you first landed on the kind of the virtual assistant idea, did you
Mm.
land on that as a virtual assistant, or did you say, you know what, I'm gonna skip, first base and I'm gonna go right to second base. I'm gonna just start an agency around virtual assistants. Let's talk
Yeah,
about that
yeah.
early stage.
Yeah. So my first business was, yes, it was in the female industry. It's nail polish, not jewelry, but
Okay.
it was an e-commerce business, which taught me what I needed to do in marketing for that business. So,
Mm-hmm.
I learned a lot about digital marketing, and then I also learned that I had to get people to do it. But luckily, I didn't have any skill set. Like, I wasn't a graphic designer, I wasn't a web developer. I'm really crap at learning technical skills. So I didn't try to learn it myself and become that person doing the work. And so starting from day one, when I bump into other business owners who said, hey, well, I need help with my marketing, and who do you know? And I'm like, I was giving them tips for free, and I was
Mm-hmm.
even telling them where to find these people, but they didn't have time. And I said, okay, I'll do it for you. And that's how I, organically started an agency. Because when I got paid, I was like, oh my God, I don't have a business name. I don't have a business
Mm-hmm.
yet, but
Yep.
I'm doing the work for them. And that's how I developed it. But luckily, because I didn't have a technical skill, I was straight away, in a way, an owner, a founder, someone
Mm-hmm.
that, or also a project manager, finding the right person, delivering the work, but not actually getting caught up with it. And that's how even the first year we were able to grow it to 200 grand, because it wasn't me doing it. I needed people. With people, obviously, you got to pay more, but you can do more. So we had more services, and we were able to serve more clients.
Mm-hmm.
And so I think that's, I guess, the blessing. Whereas sometimes when you are the VA yourself, you know how to do it, and you feel like, if I just do it myself, I keep all the money.
Mm-hmm.
You kind of catch yourself being stuck, being the only one that can deliver the work.
So did I hear you correctly? You said the first year you went from like almost zero to 200 grand?
Yeah, yeah. And that's because I even outsourced one side of me. So I had a business partner that came in to said, hey, can I help you? And I'm like, sure. So, when it comes to outsourcing, you can have a partner, you could have
Mm-hmm.
a freelancer, you could have another agency. There's so many ways. People think that they don't understand outsourcing, but we all outsource. We outsource eating. We go to the restaurant.
Mm-hmm.
That's where we outsource the cooking to.
Yeah.
We might have a cleaner, we might have a gardener, but when it comes to online services, they kind of are like, oh, how does that kind of work? Well, you even outsource the delivery, right? Uber Eats is outsourcing someone to
Hmm.
deliver your service. And so yeah, from day one, it's because I had more people, so then it's more scaled. And then so you can say yes to projects because it's not up to you to have to do it. Other people can do it. And then you also have extra helping hands to be able to help you as well.
So the outsourcing company, Outsourcing Angel, that how when was that started? Did you say that was 10 years
Yeah.
ago, or you started in business 10 years ago?
Yeah, so in 2010 was when I established the marketing agency model. This is when I was project managing the
Yeah.
work. And then 2012, I came up with the idea of Outsourcing Angel because it was like, why am I being in the middle project managing it when really it's these staff overseas that are doing the
Hmm.
work?
Yep.
And so if I cut myself out, I could make it cheaper for the clients. And then I don't have to be checking the work and being in the middle and, not really adding much value once the project gets started. And so I did think of the idea. But when you have your main business running and you're kind of like used to it, you couldn't really really do it properly. Like you like the idea, but it just sits there on the side.
Hmm.
And after continuing on with the marketing agency model, I felt frustrated to a point where I was like, oh my God, we're saying yes to all these projects. Some of them are once off, and I'm in the middle here. And, when I'm traveling, I still have to check some projects. This is it. 2015 was when I said, we're going to have to pivot to this model. And so the team was still existing. Everything was existing. It's just a different business model shift. It's just we don't have these packages or once-off pricing. We just have a team member that you can hire. And so 2015 was, and so that's nearly 9 years ago, was when I made that decision. Okay,
Hmm.
we're doing this. And it wasn't until 2017 that we even registered the company because what I've learned early on in business is that you don't have to get all fancy about registering, getting a
Hmm.
website, doing all these fancy things. Just validate the idea first. Get some clients in, even run it under the current model, current name. And, once you feel like, okay, I'm getting more clients now, I need to take it serious, is when we actually officially like
Mm.
registered the business name. Yeah.
Yep. So this is not necessarily the typical VA agency model, right?
Hmm.
I mean, this is actually a really kind of a unique approach in that space. So what's the major difference between what you see most agencies out there doing and what's unique about the approach at Outsourcing Angel?
Yeah. I think the way we see it is that we really care about the success of the business. And I mean that. I mean that I really want the business owners to grow, to make more money, but not just make money, achieve freedom. And, I myself understand what it's like to have that dream to be free. And then you start a business and you're so stuck in it and you don't know how to scale your business with marketing or operation. You just feel like you've created another hamster wheel. You escape the
Yep.
corporate life, but you
Right.
went to the hamster.
Yep.
And so I encourage my team to really think outside the box, like, how can we help the clients? So we really put a lot of effort in onboarding. We provide a lot of resources and scripts and template. Anything that we're using for ourselves, we're giving it to the client. We're telling the clients, rather other than having any performance issues or HR things that you want us to help you with. So that's the thing. We don't just recruit and give you the person. We're like making sure we're the coach of the VAs. We're the coach of
Hmm.
the client. But then we're also seeing ourselves as that kind of business marketing partner that you can go, hey, I'm trying to do this thing here. Do you know how to do it? And you don't have to go and create it yourself. We've done it, so we're going to give it to you. And so we want to make sure that you're not seeing us as this placement company that's like, give me the staff. We are living, and leading by example when it comes to marketing and operation excellence. So lean on us for
Mm.
that so that we can help you grow. And my goal is to educate the clients also, especially under my own personal brand, is about once you free up your time, how do you actually design your life so that you have more time for family, more time
Yep.
for fitness? Don't fill up that with more work again because the goalpost for more money will keeps on
Hmm.
going more.
Yep.
And if you don't prioritize it, you're caught up again in the new goal, more money. And then the very own thing you wanted freedom, you just keep delaying that.
So the model is they're an employee of yours. They're a contractor under you. Do they remain that throughout the duration of the contract? And so, like, if I'm a business, I'm just paying you kind of a flat rate just to have them on the team, and in essence, you're paying them, and you're taking care of, any health insurance, anything else that they might need on the backside.
Yes. So we have our internal team who are our staff, who, the clients can lean on for all of those marketing and operational help and that consistent delivery of the project. But the virtual assistants that we hire for clients, we match make them. They are independent, business owners themselves.
Hmm.
I call them, as they were self-employed as well. They were like me, didn't want to work in the 9 to 5 job anymore, believed that they deserved that freedom. And so they went on their own. But going on your own as a freelancer, you are, you know what it's like to be on your
Yep.
own. You need to find clients. If clients don't pay you, you don't know what's going to happen. If the clients don't, treat you well, you're like, you're alone. And
Hmm.
so we wanted to be serving the VA market as well and
Hmm.
go, we're going to be really help you feel like you're part of a family and that we're going to help you grow as a person and we're going to help you work well with the clients. And on the client side, we're going to make sure that you get the best results so that you will, love and enjoy the process of working with this person too. So to us, we serve two clients, two customers here,
Hmm.
and we like that freedom that the clients can actually cancel anytime if they feel like, I don't like your service. Well, you're free to go. The VAs also, hey, if we don't serve you and we're not doing a good job as an agency to help you, then you're also free to go. Like we're not going to hold you. But I think it creates a lot more accountability.
Hmm.
Everyone is more
Yep.
independent, and we love that we're working with independent, I guess, self-employed people because they care more about their work than an employee. Someone with an employee mindset. And so, the more harder they work and how good they are, we continue to find them more clients. And our goal is to make sure they don't have any idle time and they're always
Hmm.
getting paid. And so, yeah, and I think with this model, I just feel like it follows my purpose in life, which is
Hmm.
really about that feeling of independence, freedom, flexibility.
And passing that and showing others how to do the same.
Mm,
I
that's right.
you just exude that, as and the things that I see you post, and your
Mm,
videos you have on YouTube as well. But one thing that it's interesting, the timing. When I think back, from 2010, 2012 till say maybe till COVID,
mm,
that was a space that, there were obviously agencies out there, but it seems like post COVID, the market is just flooded with VA agencies now, so
mhm,
what would you do differently today, than you did when you started? Because it didn't sound like to me you had, much problem finding clients. I know that
mhm.
maybe through your network, through your enthusiasm, through your, outreach, through the marketing communication, all the above probably worked in your favor. But um, today, in such a saturated market, if you're talking to somebody that's listening on here that's saying, you know what, I'm trying to get a VA agency off the ground and I'm just hit, yeah, at crickets, we're hearing nothing. So how would you kind of walk them through that?
Yeah. Look, I think any business is hard. Every business, like you might look at someone else's business model, oh, that looks cool, easy, but it's not. Every business is hard. And I feel like I can't wish that I did something better because I just don't know. Like the game of business is actually personal development, business development, like
Hmm.
learning more about business skills. And so with the skills that I have now, I wish I had it then, but there's no way I could, right? And it comes down to, knowing your customers more, being so customer centric,
Hmm.
knowing your data, knowing who to hire. Because when you're early on in business, it's slower, it's harder because you don't even know how to do marketing well
Hmm.
yourself. Like
Yep.
I had to teach myself how to be on YouTube. I taught myself how to get on LinkedIn. I still remember that end of the year. I can't remember what that year was, maybe 4 or 5 years ago. I'm like, hey, LinkedIn fam, next year I am going to be active on LinkedIn. I remember making that declaration. And then that's it. From then on, I started to really practice and hone in that skill set. Same as YouTube. I failed at so many times. I keep on going on. Yep, I really want to do it. Then I can't do it because it's hard, right? And
Yeah.
so once I became consistent and became better at it, then we get a lot of more inflow of customers. Nowadays, people find us from all over the world on YouTube. And so it's hard at the beginning in any business is because you don't know what you're doing yet and you
Hmm.
haven't gained the skill set. You don't have that reputation in the market. And then, so nowadays I just feel like we've just got 10 years ahead of everybody. And so we're not
Hmm.
afraid. We just love what we do. And I feel like in life, a lot of times passion comes from doing something so much and so well. And so at the beginning, was it that fun? No, it wasn't fun because it was like, oh, what do I do next? How do I figure this out? Right? And then now that you do it so well that it's just fun and fun to figure things out. And even our team enjoys figuring out. And regardless of whether we're growing our business or we're not growing at the pace that we want to, at least we're still having fun and enjoying
Hmm.
the business itself. And I think that will help us succeed in the long run anyway. Like I always believe everything is more, I'd rather win in the marathon than win in a sprint.
Yeah.
So yeah, I never envy another company that is just scaling up to 1,000 agents and whatever else. I actually see it as life is so short. I want everyone to be able to help everybody else. Like I can only help a certain amount of people.
Mm.
Now, if I could inspire you to start another VA business, sure, do it because there's still millions and billions of people out there. Please help them. And so even on my YouTube channel, I'm already sharing my secrets and wisdom because I'm like, what if I die tomorrow?
Mm.
This past week, I've witnessed multiple people that are close to me dying really quickly, like,
Hmm.
all of a sudden stroke and died and all. And so I'm like, I might still look young, but I'm like, I still can't guarantee if I have the next year or 2 years time. So
Yeah.
why don't I just share the secrets now? So you'll find on my YouTube channel, most people find me because I've been sharing how to start a VA company. It's like
Hmm.
I'm creating my competitors,
Hmm.
but that's because I'm like, I'm not going to be here forever. So if you can just, take up that baton and continue with that, then we're all going to be able to help this world.
And I mean, you've talked about it before, this kind of scarcity mentality. You don't want to exist in that. You certainly don't want to exude that in the way that you know go about business. But this is I hate to break the conversation here, but we're going to hear just a word from our sponsors right now. But when we come back, we are going to talk about some lessons learned and then what she's got planned for the next few years. So, Lynn, let's take a quick break. At Navicus, we know you spend far too much time on administrative tasks. Let us take those off your plate so you can focus on the highest value activities in your business. We have highly trained, highly vetted specialists ready to take on those administrative responsibilities at an affordable and effective rate. Check us out at navicus.com, proud sponsor of Rising Tide Startups podcast. We are back. I'm with Lynn Podetti. Lynn, thanks again for joining us on Rising Tide. But man, we've already had such a packed interview in such a short amount of time, and you've kind of shared like the last 10, 15 years of life and lessons learned around that. But I want to talk specifically, as a business owner, just in general, um, you know, lessons learned that we can pass on. And you were mentioning that right before the ad break about, how you wanted to do that and really kind of use your gifting as a teacher, as a coach, to speak into that. But what are just one or two really solid kind of generic agnostic nuggets that you could share with our listeners that they maybe just getting started right now? You say, hey, these two things are absolutely crucial as you're starting your business to lay a good solid foundation.
Yeah. I think in general, when it comes to starting a business, it's about kind of finding your own spin into something or your own niche. So
Mm.
I feel like a lot of times you want to start a business, but you're trying to copy someone else and go, hey, I want to just do what Lynn's doing. But I think whenever I have a mentee that says, hey, can you please mentor me? I would always ask them, like, what industry have you worked in? What were some of the favorite clients that you worked with and the problem that you solved in the past? And then when they said, oh, I was in sales and I worked for this kind of industry, I'm like, let's figure out what the problems they have and then provide them the resources for that. Yes,
Mm.
you can still start a VA company or start any service business, but why don't we solve the problem there? And that way you are the best at that. You're going to enjoy that,
Yeah.
right? And so when I first started my business, I didn't have a mentor. So I started in the strangest way. It was just like nail polish. Yeah, I'm going to make money. So that's why I started a nail polish e-commerce business, but I'm glad that I still did it because I learned a lot along the way.
Hmm.
But everything that I did was just more about me and what do I want to do? It's like, oh, cool, let's do this, let's do that. But it's just, in the last few years, I feel like I'm honing in more. Even the next level is like, okay, I've had many years of business now. what is it that is so easy for me? What's in flow? Let's just do that and not copy
Hmm.
everyone else, or do and kind of diversify into many things. Because when we did, we burnt ourselves out, or we just got busy doing more work. And so we're even ourselves are going back to the root of what do we do well, and let's do more of that. It
Hmm.
means that the next, 5 years at least now, is that we're going to be focusing on being a matchmaker. We're good at matchmaking. I
Hmm.
even matchmake people in real life. Like I recently matchmake a couple and they're in love with each other right now. And so I realized that's our skill set. And so recently when we tried to create another service and did it in-house and build a team around it, we just got distracted and it just got
Hmm.
hard and
Yeah.
trying to figure it all out. But then now we're going to go back to matchmaking, and yes, we can still provide different types of skill set or different types of services, but why don't we still focus in matching the right people? And that right person doesn't have to be from the Philippines, doesn't have to be that one
Hmm.
level. It could be more advanced Filipino. It could be more advanced people from another country.
Right.
It could be a partner that is a strategist that's great at that, and they have one or two people team, remote team as well. But then at the end of the day, we're focusing on the customer and going, what do they actually want? And then also focusing on us going, what can we do well and stick to that, and then
Hmm.
have kind of partners around that. So that's kind of our learning lesson recently.
So it's interesting. I mean, every time I talk to you, there's like a different version, of Lynn that is kind of emerging here. So, I don't know which point we're talking about here. So Lynn, let's say Lynn 1.0 was doing the nail polish, 2.0
Yeah.
was kind of doing the outsourcing, agency model. What 3.0, what does that look like? I mean, you've mentioned little nuggets here and there. You and I talked, a couple of months ago and had a great conversation, and you kind of talked about some things you're leaning into in the coaching space. So what does
Yes.
Lynn 3.0 look like?
Well, Lynn changes fast.
That's
So
right.
yeah, Lynn used to be all about, how do you outsource? How do you delegate? And I feel like that's just one step towards freedom. First you delegate and outsource, but then it's like, what do you actually do with that extra time? And so the new Lynn is really about advocating that, living that intentional life. And you'll
Mm.
also see my own brand is going to change anytime soon. And I honed into my own skills and said, okay, I was creating a lot of content and I was sharing information, but the best fun I had was actually connecting with people, interviewing people. I've always been a connector. So,
Hmm.
showcasing amazing people, talking to them, and then, at the same time, building that connection that I have, and maybe be able to matchmake them with other people that I know. But the Lin is always developing. This Lin is continuously, and I feel like it's fun. You never know who you are, and sometimes people kind of feel like this is me and this is all I know. You're good at that. That's why you do that.
Hmm.
But everything that I am now has just been a continuous development, and realizing, oh my God, I really enjoyed that. I still remember when I first did a podcast, I was so nervous. I'm like,
Mm.
what question am I going to ask? I had all these scripted questions like everybody else. And then it got to the point now where I love it more than I love anything else. So
Mm.
it means that you never really know yourself
Yeah.
until you know yourself.
Well, and I think the lesson learned, I mean, add that as lesson number three here is just the idea that, if we stop growing and kind of, improving, we stagnate. It's not like it's
Hmm.
a neutral, it's not a zero sum gain. I mean, you actually go backwards. And so, I mean, what a great model of, continually improving, continually building yourself and building your brand, building your skill sets, being a lifelong learner. I mean, there are so many adjectives I can continue to, describe you with, because you have so much, I hate to overuse the word, but energy around your brand, and it is really fun to watch from a distance and intimately, see it up close, and the times we get to chat. But man, is there anything that we have not touched on you would just like to wrap us up with,
Yeah.
and just tie a neat little bow around this great episode?
Yeah. I feel like I'm the happiest in the last few years because I also found faith. I think
Mm,
before that, I knew that I was a good person or I wanted to do good in the world, but I just felt like I had no guidance, or I didn't know what does God want from me? How do I know I'm doing a good job? And I think that when I discovered my faith in Christianity, I just feel so at peace. And that's why I tell my husband, like, I don't know why, but I'm able to juggle all these projects and passion and connecting with so many people. But then at the same time, I'm so calm is because I just know I'm not alone. I'm co-creating with my creator. Each day I have all these to-dos, but I'm just doing enough. And then everything just works itself out. Or knowing the fact that I'm just a steward of God's money or ability. And so I'm just a vehicle. And so I think I want people to know what's inside of me, and like what's helping me to run like this is actually just knowing Jesus, knowing God, and having the Bible as a guide. And I would say that I am who I am, or the best version of myself now is because of the guidance that I've gained in the last few years. Because before that, yeah, I was moving forward, but I think I was still a bit empty somehow. I wasn't sure about things.
Well, the picture is complete. I want to get a T-shirt that says "Co-creating with the Creator." I mean, what a line! You need to put that on a bumper sticker. That is a great way to wrap it up. And Lynn, thank you so much just for taking time to share with us again today. It's always fun to connect with you and whether it's through a podcast interview or just touching base. But just thank you again for just playing your part in helping all boats rise in a rising tide. What a blessing to have you on again.
Oh, thank you so much, Kevin. Really appreciate the opportunity to speak with you again. And I love your questions, and I hope the audience has enjoyed the conversation as much as I did.
Then take care.
Thank you.
I hope you heard some great takeaways from our guests today. Make sure you reach out to them, and thank you again for playing your part in helping all boats rise in a rising tide.